Hello, welcome to another episode of Le Nouvel Esprit Presents. In this episode, we are going to investigate the question of how did the modern drug crisis come about and why? And we are going to do this by considering Joseph Ratzinger. So, Joseph Ratzinger wrote a book called A Turning Point for Europe, and a startling claim is that he makes is that drugs and terrorism are symptoms of the same disease. In fact, drugs, terrorism, abortion, and euthanasia all have the same origin, and this origin has proved itself to be one of the greatest ideological crises facing modern man. So, Ratzinger argued that the spiritually rich Middle Ages made drugs unnecessary. So, what changed in modernity? Modern man assumed a belief that this world is a world of facts, where facts only refers to what is natural, scientific, and quantitative. The world of facts is a bad world, dominated by the brutal forces of nature. Man must stand up and overcome nature to create a better world. This allows a formulation of hope in the future based on the repudiation of the present world and the desire to order it towards a particularized utopian vision. Now, one solution to the problem of the world of facts and its naked brutality is to protest against the world of facts by consuming drugs. He who takes drugs does so as an act of refusal of resignation to this world of facts. Drug usage becomes a way of seeking a better world and is a symbolic act of rebellion against an oppressive reality. Against the world of facts, man cannot hold out for long. He despairs against the world and his perception of its facticity as a dungeon. The core of the drug abuse problem, according to Ratzinger, is a protest against a reality perceived as a prison. Now, the usage of drugs is a forward, backward orientated perspective on religion. It is an embracement of a contradiction, the appropriation of two competing existential attitudes or inclinations which compete with each other within the heart of man. In using drugs, man rejects the pathway of religion to the divine due to an atheistic attitude. Drugs replace man as man's source of salvation from the worlds of facticity, making the use of drugs an existential act of rejecting God. On the other hand, drug usage attempts to fill in this spiritual void within the self, which such interpretations of the world as facts instills within the soul. The desire to satiate the thirst of soul for God is done with a false solution of drugs. Hence, Ratzinger writes, quote, "Drugs are the pseudo-mysticism of a world that does not believe, yet cannot get rid of the soul's yearning for paradise." End quote. Man looks forward to an imminent utopia conceived existentially atheistic, for he needs not to have made an intellectual assent or volitional acceptance of atheism here, while reflecting backward upon himself and the abyss within. Drugs discloses to man and society the vacuum left from this ideological worldview, which cannot be treated by the mechanisms of society, and to an insight of man's nature and his need for the divine. Now, terrorism is a second solution and begins as a protest against the world with the desire to make it better. Proponents of both drug usage and terrorism see the present world as a world of problems and propose a future-oriented solution. This future-oriented perspective of which drugs and terrorism are grounded is this positivistic proposition that what is moral lies in the future and not in being. Morality hence becomes a thing for man to create, and so morality, or quote, morality is whatever creates the future, end quote. Now, it is this proposition that justifies both euthanasia and abortion. Children and the elderly can be sacrificed for the sake of research or maintaining a healthy herd through culling. A child can be killed in utero if he or she stands in the way of the mother's quote-unquote self-realization, that is, her project of becoming herself or even better achieving her future goals and plans. The child is interpreted to be a barrier to the realization of her idealized future world, and so the murder is justified for the sake of the induction of a solipsistic utopia. Similarly, the elderly are understood as better off dead in this futurist perspective and are rationalized away as an economic problem or as a pain management therapy. One's kindness and thoughtfulness can justify all species of murder. Now, each of these actions, drug abuse, terrorism, euthanasia, and abortion, therefore represent a radical departure from the world of being in favor of an unhinged process of becoming. The rupture of this connection between the process of becoming from being itself is the core problem. Ratzinger argues that what is properly moral can be understood by its primal evidential character as grounded in being. Man in previous times had the primordial intuition and conviction that man does not invent morality, but finds it already present in the essence of things. Here, Ratzinger references C.S. Lewis's The Abolition of Man and the defense within it of this moral worldview, which Lewis called the Tao. Now, modernity separated itself from the primal evidential character of morality. Many modern thinkers now propose a distinction between the world of feelings and the world of facts. The first world is subjective, the second objective. The world of facts is what is outside of man, naked facticity, the realm of the natural sciences and quantification. It is stripped of any claims of aesthetics or morality, for these belong to the world of feeling within man. Religion, beauty, and goodness are subordinated to the subjective and are therefore in control of man to define and determine. These have no place in the world of objectivity, for they are quantifically indeterminable. And I want to give a shout out to Henri de Lubbock's The Drama of Atheist Humanism, an important source in Ratzinger's book on this topic. Alright. Once the divorce of morality from being is established through the distinction between the world of feeling and the world of facts is made, nature becomes a tyrant. C.S. Lewis defines nature as an objective reality as strictly understood as the world of facts, without reference to value, teleology, and reduced to quantity. Being is reduced to mere nature to be manipulated. Quote, "We reduce things to mere nature in order that we may conquer them. We are always conquering nature because nature is the name for what we have to some extent conquered. The price of conquest is to treat a thing as a mere nature. Every conquest over nature increases her domain." End quote. The naturalization of man and being transforms man into raw material for mere appetite without any rational ordering. Nature itself is the ratio for moral thinking. Traditional morality, which is grounded in being, is deemed subjective and unscientific, irrelevant because it cannot be quantized. Man becomes dehumanized. It is the magician's bargain, says C.S. Lewis. to give up our soul to get power in return. But once our souls, that is ourselves, have been given up, the power thus conferred will not belong to us. End quote. It is precisely this process of naturalization that gives rise to the theoretical foundation for various diverse movements such as the fascists, communists, Nazis, and any movement which endorses recreational drug usage, abortion, euthanasia, and terrorism. These different movements and ideas all share the same heritage of a scientism that reduces the world to natural facts and eliminates the essential connection between morality and being, naturalizing moral thinking to mere subjective opinion or emotive thinking. At the heart of this movement of naturalization is atheism. The naturalization of the world separates religion from being, grounding it within man as something subjective. As such, religion has nothing to offer to a realm of being reduced to mere facts. Religion becomes irrelevant. The consequences have already been mentioned, but it is worth repeating. Such naturalization is a glorification of despair. Despair becomes the proper order of business. Drugs, terrorism, abortion, and euthanasia are the products and agents of despair. They are products of a society in despair and become the agents of despair for the individual who turns to them for consolation against the world's cruel, naked facticity. The cure, as Ratzinger argues, is a return to the primordial intuition of morality as grounded in being. This reversal naturally reorientates oneself towards God and opens the way for his or her conversion. Ultimately, it is only when man and society ground themselves in the ultimate ground that the agents of despair will appear in their fullest hideousness as an unmasked demon, that man will recognize most clearly that it is the love of God that will fill the spiritual void and render any need of drugs useless. As the character Trofimovich states in Dostoevsky's novel The Possessed, the one essential condition of human existence is that man should always be able to look down before something infinitely great. If men were deprived of the infinitely great, they will not go on living and die of despair. The infinite and the eternal are as essential for man as the little planet on which he dwells. Thank you for watching this episode of Le Nouveau Esprit Presents. Check out our website for more information concerning Catholicism and marijuana. The material found in this episode is based on part 4 of a series of articles on the website. This video, let's see here. In the first video in our series on marijuana covers the Catholic Church's teachings on marijuana and why marijuana is actually intrinsically evil. Links are provided here on the slide, and it will be provided also in the video description. If you've enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our website's mailing list, and consider making a financial donation. On our website, we accept PayPal, and in our description, you can see that we have a Patreon page to support us there monthly and access special perks. Donations go towards the website maintenance and the purchase of materials to continue our research. Thank you.